and welcome back to the Doctor Who Review. Today, Rachel and I are continuing our coverage of Season 1 with Episode 7, The Long Game.
So, okay, I have a confession. I'm not a big fan of futuristic sci-fi stuff like this. I've seen enough like Star Trek and Doctor Who and other stuff that, I don't know, 9 times out of 10, I find it very boring. And it's crazy because they're creating all of this like futuristic stuff. Shouldn't that be like really exciting and really like amazing? And it's so creative. I don't know. Like for some reason, it just doesn't engage me. And like there are exceptions to the rule. Like I love Wall-E, I guess would be sort of an exception to the rule, but that like engages me emotionally. And like, I feel like a lot of times with this sort of futuristic sci-fi, like Blade Runner, I respect it. I admire it, but I find it very boring. But I like the horror ones, and I really like the going back in time ones. So,
well, I actually really like this episode. I like the futuristic ones.
Yeah, no, like and many people do, but I don't know. It just was like I just feel like I've tried so many times, and there are exceptions to the rule, but like it's so interesting to me because a lot of people find a movie like Interstellar to be super boring. But I actually really liked it because I was emotionally invested in Murphy and her dad's story and their relationship as a family. And so I was motivated and I found it moving. But a lot of times with this futuristic sci-fi, they forget that kind of element to me. Does that make sense at all? Like what I'm saying?
Yeah, it does. If this episode had been done with people I didn't like, I probably wouldn't like it that much. But I like the Doctor and Rose. And I thought that some of the ideas that they came up with for how the society had been built were good ideas.
Very creative. And it's the same way with Blade Runner. Blade Runner is super creative and super beautiful and amazing and an achievement, both new and old Blade Runner. But just not my favorite. But anyway, so let's talk about it. Let's talk about it because there's a lot to talk about and a lot of good things. I just, in the end, kind of found it boring. But let's talk about it. So this, you have the Doctor, Rose, and Adam going to the year 200,000. So why don't you explain a little bit what they find there?
Basically, the Doctor is expecting what he refers to as the fourth great and bountiful human empire. Mm-hmm. Basically, humanity is supposed to be at a peak. Like, they've reached out to hundreds of other alien worlds. They've made contact. It's basically, he's expecting something, not quite a utopia, but something like a really great place. But they land on this space station and find out that there are no aliens. The humans are basically sequestered off. And there's something weird going on in this space station. They call it Satellite 5. They transmit news all around the world. The technology that they use, he calls it wrong. It's not what it's supposed to be. Plus, it just seems really weird. They're using people as computers. They're funneling all the information through people's brains, so the brains are processing the information and then sending it through the satellite instead of using actual computers. Basically, he thinks that something has gone wrong with history because this is not what he expected to find. And the main crux of the episode is he needs to figure out who has been meddling with history, why has humanity become this, and basically what happened to create this world that shouldn't exist.
It's interesting because there's these different levels, these different floors, and they're told different things about each level, about the life that they can lead and what they can do, and these humans are told that if they are exemplary, if they do an extra good job being these computers or whatever, that then they'll get to go up to this special floor.
Floor 500, where apparently the walls are made of gold. And apparently that's a good enough reason for everybody to really want that promotion. That doesn't really seem to appeal to me. I'm like, why would you want to work in a place just because the walls are made of gold? I think that would get hard on the eyes after a while. It would be too shiny.
Yeah, maybe it's kind of like the whole immigrant idea of like the streets are made of gold and kind of like it's sort of like easy way to kind of sell that it's like super luxurious or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
It could super be nice.
It just didn't seem like that big of a draw to me.
It's like it's the madness of crowds and the psychology of lines or something like that. It's really interesting, the sociology of it. But anyway, this promotion is there and everybody else is getting it, and then you never see them again. And
that to me would be a huge red flag. Like he said, you people are journalists. Why is this not ringing any bells for people? You go to floor 500 and then they never see you again.
But they're not really journalists. They're journalists in the sense that they're more like researchers.
Yeah, kind of. But
yeah.
Still, even a normal person, if you've heard about a place where you got a promotion and then nobody ever saw you again,
yeah,
why would you want that promotion?
Well, so you get up to the floor 500 and Simon Pegg is there as the editor, and which was interesting to see him. Like, Simon Pegg is like Mr. Franchise. He's been in Star Wars, he's been in Star Trek, he's been in Doctor Who, he's been in like everything.
Yeah.
He needs to like just be in he needs to be in a Batman movie and a Marvel movie, and he's got like everything.
Yeah, apparently he was supposed to apparently have gotten a different part. He was supposed to have like a bigger part of the series. They originally wanted him to play Rose's dad.
Oh.
Because I'm sure you saw the preview for next week. Rose's dad shows up, but he wasn't available during that block of shooting. So they gave him this part instead.
He doesn't seem old enough to be Rose's dad, to me.
I don't know.
Right? Who knows? Okay. Anyway, so he's the editor. And like, why is it so cold up there?
Because the Jagrafess is on the ceiling, and the Jagrafess
needs it cold.
Will die if it gets too hot. Like you saw at the
right.
Towards the end, they shut down the cooling system. The Jagrafess overheated and exploded. So the Jagrafess will die if it's not cold enough.
And how did the Jagrafess get there? It's just like
that's one of the things that I don't think is explained very well. Like, who did he? They say he was installed. He couldn't have installed himself. Why would humans intentionally install this thing that is planning on manipulating the human race?
Hey everyone, Editor Jonathan here. I was just watching through this footage that we shot like a year ago now, and I realized I totally do know where the Jagrafess came from and why he was installed. Spoiler alert for the season finale, but I mean, the season's been out for 13 years now. Hopefully by this point you've actually watched it. In the season finale, it's revealed that this reshaping of history was engineered by the Daleks, using the satellite to feed misinformation down to humanity. So, one can assume, since the Daleks are responsible for everything that happened on Satellite 5, including its creation, they were the ones who installed the Jagrafess. Like, why I didn't remember that when we recorded it is beyond me, but whatever. I remembered now, so I'm setting the record straight. Anyway, back to the show.
And then you have Adam getting up to all kinds of mischief. So he is like not happy on the floor with the journalists, and so he leaves, which is never a good idea. Never leave the doctor.
Yeah.
Unless you absolutely have to. And also, like, Rose has a phone.
The doctor upgraded her phone in the second episode.
Yes. So
and
this is
basically it can call back in time.
Yes. So this is a very good phone plan that she has.
Yeah, really.
But yeah, so she has a phone. And is this something that's in a lot of episodes? Because I don't remember it in season 10, anybody having a phone.
I feel like he upgrades the next companion's phone too, but it's kind of a plot point that's sort of done away with, I think, because I don't remember too many calls home after the first season.
Yeah.
Really.
So Adam goes off, and he's pretty dumb. Let's be honest. This guy's
he's really stupid.
He is not the sharpest tool in the shed. So not only does he leave the doctor, but he goes and he puts his hands on the. If I'm on some crazy station like that, I'm not putting my hands anywhere. He puts his hands on there and he gets this like jolt of information, and it's very exciting, very, very cool. And so he decides to have a chip installed in his head, and then he's going to call back home and tell them everything, all the technology. Like, you just shouldn't have things put in your head. Like, that's just not a good thing to do.
when I know the doctor meant when he said that this technology is wrong. I know he meant it as it shouldn't exist in the history that he knows, but also it just seems wrong to have people literally opening up their heads to funnel information directly into their brain.
Right.
So I don't understand why Adam thought that this was a good idea. I'm pretty sure he had plans of making himself rich by taking future knowledge to the past. But if that's going to involve opening your head, literally, that's just a stupid idea. Don't do it.
No. Mm-mm. Yeah, you don't want anything in your head because you want to leave. Like, then you got this alien chip thing in your head. Like, no. Mm-hmm. Very bad idea, but he does it anyway. And and it like actually like cracks open his head, and so there's like a port kind of.
Yeah, basically. It's sort of, I don't know, a USB port without the USB. Yeah. It's just like information goes directly in the hole. It's just, it seems like a terrible, terrible idea.
Yeah. Which is weird because this whole world is sort of based on information, but it's all propaganda. It's a strange thing. Like, they need all these people to process information, but it's not real information. So, like, I don't know. It's sort of strange. So anyway, yeah, basically, like, in the end, they're able to kill the editor and the Jagerfrost through heat, like you said, and they're able to escape. The last, like, kind of thing is you see the doctor destroying the answer machine and saying, like, you're an idiot. And he basically has to have this weird thing in his head the rest of his life.
Yeah, which is now useless because he doesn't live in the future where that is used.
Right. Yeah. So, and he is definitely banned from the TARDIS. He's done. We never see him again, I guess.
I don't know if this is a good idea or not, but I kind of want an episode to revisit him, like, just to find out what he's been doing the last 10 years. Like, what became of his life.
Yeah, it could be a good party trick. I mean, you got this thing in your head.
That would be a really weird party trick. You would freak a lot of people out.
Oh boy. So yeah, I don't know. It's very creative. This whole station and the floors and the whole, I don't know, it's very, very creative, but I don't know, for whatever reason, I was just like, oh, so boring. So I don't know. I want to give this one a 5. I really didn't like it. It wasn't for me. Why would you give it?
I probably would give it an 8 because for all its flaws, I actually did like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's cool.
I don't know why. I like this episode. I like the creativity. I like the setting. I like the characters. Mm-hmm. I really like Cass and Suki. I mean, Suki dies right away, but I liked her while she was there. And I liked Cass, so...
Yeah, she's pretty good.
I don't know.
Maybe 5 is too harsh. Maybe fine. I'll give it a 6. I'll give it a 6 because I recognize that it's just maybe not my taste, but it has good things about it. But yeah, so it's interesting. I think it says something about the show that, like, it can please so many different people. Like, I really liked the Dalek one. You weren't as big a fan of it. I know other people don't really like the ones that go back in time. I love those ones. And so hopefully the show kind of has something for everyone.
It actually does, because Doctor Who is one of those shows that it changes every episode. Like, every episode is a new, completely different idea.
Yeah, that's
I'm sure you're gathering that from the ones you've seen. But it's always different. If you don't like this episode, just wait for the next one, because it'll be something totally different. You can see if you like that one.
Right.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching this episode. Next week, Rachel and I will be back to talk about Episode 8, Father's Day. We'll see you then. Bye.